Everything started when Collins arrived for his summer visit at the farm. The familiar landscape greeted him with open arms, the fields stretching endlessly under the vibrant sky. I had always cherished this place, where laughter echoed between the barn walls, and the rhythm of the seasons dictated our lives. Collins, now 18, stepped out of the car with the same adventurous spirit he had as a child. His brown hair caught the breeze, and that mischievous smile reminded me of all the summer days spent exploring. "Auntie," he called out, rushing towards me. "Welcome, Collins. Ready to see what the farm has in store for you?" I teased, knowing he'd have to roll up his sleeves. "Definitely, I want to learn everything," he replied, his enthusiasm infectious. As we walked towards the barn, I felt a wave of nostalgia. I showed him around, pointing out the old tractor, the tool shed, and the chicken coop. Each corner held memories, and Collins seemed eager to create new ones. That evening, as the sun set in a brilliant display of colors, we settled on the porch with glasses of freshly squeezed lemonade. The warm breeze whispered through the trees, and the scent of hay filled the air. "What do you love most about the farm, Auntie?" Collins asked, curiosity lighting up his face. I paused, reflecting on the question. "The freedom," I finally answered. "It's a place where you can breathe and find yourself." Collins nodded, his expression thoughtful. "In the city, everything feels so hectic. It's nice to escape." As stars began to twinkle in the deepening sky, our conversation grew more personal. We shared stories of our lives, our dreams, and the paths we wanted to pursue. There was a connection forming between us, a bond that felt deeper than I had expected. "Maybe I can help out more. Really get into it," Collins suggested, his voice serious. "Are you ready for that? It's not all fun and games," I warned, a chuckle escaping me. "I'm all in. Let's make this summer unforgettable," he declared, determination shining in his eyes. Little did we know this summer would unravel in ways that tested the very fabric of our relationship, leading us down a path neither of us anticipated. The next morning the sun rose early, painting the fields in hues of gold. I awoke to the sound of birds chirping and the faint rustle of leaves. Collins was already outside, eager to dive into farm life. I found him attempting to wrangle a reluctant chicken, its feathers fluffed in protest. "Looks like you've got your hands full," I laughed, stepping outside with a steaming cup of coffee. He grinned, finally catching the chicken and holding it triumphantly. "I think I'll name her Cluck," he declared. "Good choice. Just wait until you have to collect eggs," I replied, handing him a basket. "Let's see how many we can gather today." As we made our way to the coop, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride watching him embrace the challenges of farm life. We spent the morning collecting eggs, tending to the garden, and feeding the livestock. Collins's enthusiasm was contagious, and soon we were sharing stories and laughter amidst the chores. After lunch, we moved to the fields to tackle the weeds. It was hard work. The rhythmic pull of the weeds became a form of meditation. "You know, Auntie," Collins said, pausing to wipe the sweat from his brow, "this is actually kind of fun." "See, I told you," I responded, feeling a warmth in my chest. There's something satisfying about working the land. As the sun climbed, we took a break under the shade of a large oak tree. "What's your dream, Collins?" I asked, curious about his aspirations. He looked thoughtful for a moment. "I want to travel, see the world beyond the city, maybe do something creative. I love photography," he admitted, a hint of shyness in his voice. "That's wonderful. Capturing moments can be so powerful," I encouraged. "Have you thought about what you want to focus on?" "Mostly nature and people. I want to show the beauty in everyday life," he replied, a spark igniting in his eyes. As we sat there, the bond between us deepened. Conversations flowed easily, and I found myself sharing more about my struggles and my journey through life. We laughed about the silly things we did as kids, and reflected on how we had grown. By the time evening rolled around, I felt a sense of fulfillment I hadn't experienced in a long time. We prepared dinner together, joking and dancing around the kitchen as we cooked. The laughter echoed through the old walls of the farmhouse, reminding me of the joy that comes from shared moments. After dinner, we sat outside, the stars twinkling like diamonds above us. "This has been the best day," Collins said, leaning back in his chair, a contented sigh escaping him. "I'm glad you're enjoying it," I replied, smiling. "There's so much more to come." But as the days unfolded, the feeling that something deeper was developing between us. It was subtle, a shared glance, a lingering touch, but it stirred a complexity within me that I hadn't expected with every passing day. I felt both exhilarated and anxious. The lines between aunt and nephew seemed to blur, leading us to a summer filled with possibilities I never anticipated. As the days rolled on, our routine became a blend of laughter, hard work, and those quiet moments that seemed to stretch time. Collins and I grew closer, but with that closeness came an undercurrent of tension I couldn't quite identify. It was as if the air crackled with unspoken and lingering glances one afternoon. While we were tending to the vegetable garden, I noticed Collins staring at me. He had that thoughtful look on his face again, the one that made my heart flutter unexpectedly. "What is it?" I asked, wiping my hands on my jeans. "Just thinking about how different life is compared to the city," he replied, his tone contemplative. "It feels more real, you know." I nodded, feeling the weight of his words. "It is. There's something about the simplicity of that helps you connect with yourself." He looked at me, his gaze intense. "And with each other," he added softly. I felt a heat rush to my cheeks, and I quickly busied myself with the weeds, trying to shake off the moment. "We should get back to work," I said, avoiding his eyes. The tension was palpable, and I wasn't sure how to address it without complicating everything. That evening, we decided to take a break from chores and explore the nearby woods. It was a favorite spot from my childhood, a hidden paradise where sunlight filtered through the trees, creating a magical atmosphere. We wandered along the winding paths, surrounded by the sounds of nature. As we reached a clearing, I turned to Collins. "This is my favorite spot. I used to come here to think." I shared, feeling a sense of nostalgia wash over me. "It's beautiful," he said, his voice low, almost reverent. We sat on a fallen log, the silence between us stretching comfortably. After a moment, Collins spoke again, his tone serious. "Auntie, can I ask you something?" "Of course," I replied, my heart racing slightly. "Do you ever feel something more between us?" he asked, his eyes searching mine. I was taken aback, unsure how to respond. My heart raced, and my mind scrambled for the right words. "Collins, we're family, I know, but that doesn't change how I feel." He interrupted, his voice firm. "I can't help it." The air was thick with unspoken emotions, and I felt my defenses slipping. "I care about you, Collins. You're like family to me," I said, trying to maintain a distance. "But it feels different. I can't explain it," he replied, his vulnerability laid bare. We sat in silence, the weight of his words hanging in the air. I felt a whirlwind of emotions, confusion, excitement, and an undeniable connection. Yet the boundaries of our relationship loomed large, and I struggled with the implications of what he was suggesting. Finally, I broke the silence. "Let's just enjoy the summer. We can figure things out as we go," I suggested, hoping to diffuse the intensity of the moment. Collins nodded slowly, though I could see the disappointment in his eyes. "Okay, but I just wanted to be honest," he said quietly. As we walked back to the farmhouse, I couldn't shake the feeling that everything had shifted. The lines between us were now blurred, and the simplicity of our summer on the farm had transformed into something far more complex. The days that followed were a mix of routine and unspoken tension. Collins and I continued our work on the farm, but there was an undeniable shift in our dynamic. Every glance felt loaded, and every laugh held a hint of something deeper. I found myself drawn in a way that was both exhilarating and terrifying. One afternoon, we were sorting through old photos in the attic, a treasure trove of memories from family gatherings and childhood antics. I stumbled upon a picture of Collins as a child, his face smeared with cake, laughter frozen in time. "Look at this," I exclaimed, holding it up. He chuckled, the sound echoing in the quiet space. "I can't believe how much I've changed," he said, his voice softening. "You still look the same." I felt my heart flutter at his compliment. "Oh, please, the years have been kind." But I've aged, brushing off the flattery. As we continued to sift through memories, we found ourselves sitting closer together. The air was thick with familiarity and unspoken words. I glanced at him, and for a moment, everything else faded away. His gaze met mine, and I could see the longing reflected in his eyes. What if we just allowed ourselves to feel this? Collins asked, suddenly breaking the silence, just for the summer. I felt a mix of fear and excitement. "Collins, it's complicated. We're family," I replied, struggling to maintain my composure. "Not by blood, but by choice. This is our time," he insisted, his voice filled with passion. "We could be something more." I took a deep breath to process everything. What if it complicates everything? What if it ruins what we have? I asked, vulnerability creeping into my voice. "Or it could make it even better." He counted his eyes, searching mine. "We have this connection, Auntie. Why not explore it?" The temptation was strong, but so were the fears we shared. A summer that was supposed to be about reconnecting, about enjoying the simple pleasures of life on the farm. I found myself at a crossroads, caught between the safety of the familiar and the thrill of the unknown. In the end, I decided to let the summer unfold. Naturally, let's take it one day at a time. No pressure, I said softly. Collins smiled, relief washing over his face. "That sounds fair. We can just enjoy each other's company." From that day forward, our bond deepened even further. We embraced our connection, spending evenings stargazing, sharing dreams, and enjoying the simple moments that made life so special. The tension remained, but it became a comfortable undercurrent rather than an overwhelming force. As summer drew to a close, I realized that our relationship had transformed into something beautiful and complex. It wasn't just about the unspoken feelings, but also about the trust we had built and the shared experiences that would forever tie us together. When the day finally came for Collins to leave, the thought of separation hung heavy in the air. We stood on the porch, the golden light of sunset illuminating our faces. "I'll miss this place," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Me too, but we'll have these memories," I replied, fighting back tears. "Promise me we'll keep in touch," he said, looking deeply into my eyes. "Always," I assured him, my heart full. As he drove away, I felt a bitter-sweet mixture of joy and longing. The summer had given us more than I could have ever anticipated. It had brought to light the complexity of relationships, the beauty of connection, the courage to embrace feelings that defy conventional boundaries. And while the future remained uncertain, I knew that whatever lay ahead, our bond would forever hold a special place in my heart. Thank you for watching this video. Please consider subscribing to our channel for more videos like this.